Hello, my name's David and I own Little Houses Plus and Small World Products. Small World Products are specialists in wiring dolls' houses. So today we're just going to talk to you about one way that you can wire your doll's house. Now you've just got your doll's house and you're thinking about, oh, I need to put some lights on it. The first question you need to ask yourself is, when I put my lights in, how easy is it to change the bulb? Now if you look here, we've got a room that we've just made up of like a room in your house, and here's the light over here and it's on, but the bulb goes. So how are you going to change that bulb? Well, you can use a little thing like this called a bulb restrictor. And the idea of that is you put that inside the light, get hold of the bulb and twist it and take it out. Now that's fine if it's a screw-in bulb. Some bulbs have two little prongs on that you have to get into two little holes, and the little bits that you have to get in are probably about as big as a neat pin, so you're trying to get them in there. So the way we do it, and the way we suggest you do it on the easy wiring system, is that you can take your light out, change your bulb, and then just push the light back in like that, nice and easy. Now to do that you can use two things. One is that you can use copper tape or round wire. Now today we're going to talk to you about copper tape, and this is an update on what we did earlier presentation. So here's the copper tape going along the wall here, and they're the little pins there that we're going to put into it. Now to make it look easier for you, I'm just going to put this down to one side, and I'm going to show it to you on this board because it's easier to describe on here. To do this you'll need some copper tape. You'll see this one has two strands of copper tape on it, but it has a plastic coating on it, and you need to take this plastic coating off, and I'll talk to you about that later on. We also do a copper tape that has no plastic coating on it, but it's only one strand, so you then have to use it doubled, but you then have to get the gap good enough to take the back plate that I will explain to you later on as well. So most people use this where the gap is already worked out for you. You will need a soldering iron, a pair of long nose pliers, some solder to go with the soldering iron, some round wire, and the round wire that we use is 6 strands inside, and each strand is nickel plated, and that makes the electric run around the house more efficiently. You will need for ceilings, you'll need these little things, little grip contacts, they go in the ceilings. I don't know if you can see that, and they have little springs inside them so that holds the light in the ceiling when you plug it in. And to put them in you will need a drill bit that is 2.4 millimeters, and that's very important because they need to go in quite tight. And you will also need brassy coloured ones that go into the wall to take your lights. You'll also need a back plate. Now these back plates are designed and made specially for Small World products, and they're done so that they're nice and thin so that they don't protrude or make the light stick out very far, and they are designed and made specially for us. So that's the items that we're using. Now you just need a little plan in your mind of whereabouts the rooms are going to be in your house. For instance, if you've got a bathroom, you probably wouldn't want any lights coming off the floor like a standard lamp or anything. You would only want a wall light and possibly a ceiling light. You might want a light over the top of a mirror. Where in a dining room or a sitting room, you might want to have a standard lamp. You might want to have a fire, and that would have to be on a different run, and we'll explain that to you in a minute. So just have a think about, first of all, what you're going to put in each room. When you've got that in your mind, you can then think about how you're going to do it. Now we're just going to explain to you on this board here because it's easier showing you on here than it is trying to show you in a house. So this is the wall of the house. Here's the floor. So you put the wall against the floor like that. You get your skirting board that you're going to use, and bearing in mind Victorian can be wider than a modern skirting board, so that's why you need to have that. And you need to put it on there and draw a line above the skirting board, because later on when you get a plug or something, you want to be able to plug it in and not get it caught on the skirting board. Now if we're talking about a sitting room, for instance, you might want to have a standard lamp. Now you may, each light comes with a great big plug on it. You might find that they're a bit big really. So you could use a 1/24 plug if you're wanting to put a standard lamp in and you want to put that into the wall, which will be much better than it would be with a great big one. But you need to think about that as well, because that will have 1/24 little grips in the wall, and so you need to think where you're going to put those. Now normally we would use 1/12 grip in the wall here. So we've marked along here where our skirting board's going to be, and we've decided that our copper tape is going to be above that. Now the copper tape that you can use comes in two sorts. There's this one here. Now this comes on a roll and it has a sticky back to it, and it also has a plastic coating on the front. Now you need to take this plastic coating off because you're going to do a little bit of soldering on there, so you need to take the plastic coating off. Now my suggestion is that you just get hold of it and rip it right off the whole length really of what you're going to use at the time, and that will come a bit more apparent later on. We do a copper tape that just has one bit like that, but then that doesn't come with any plastic coating on it, but you then have to work out the gap that you'll want to put your back plate on that has the light on it, and you'll see that how that works later on. Take the copper tape and we stick it along the wall above the mark. Now that's here for the first run for fires or lights, as we said, like a standard lamp. But just remember, if you're going to put fires in there, the fire run will have to be on a different run to the light one, because you might want the fires to flicker, and you don't want your lights flickering, so you need a different run. Now what we need to do is you take your back plate with the two little prongs and you stick it on the copper tape and push it in, and that will leave you a little mark. That will show you where you want to drill the holes to take the little grips. Now you can do that either with a little drill, or you can use one of these that we have on our website, and you just put the drill bit into there, and then you can just screw that in. And you might find that quite handy if you're actually doing it when the house is built. So you've drilled the holes. You then need to take your little brassy things that you're going to put in here, brass grips, and what I do is I put them in a pair of pliers like this. So we're going to put the little grip in the pliers like that, and you offer it up to the hole that you drilled in the copper tape and just push it in a little bit, just so it's there in the hole. Hang on a minute, I'll just do that again, I wasn't quite far enough in. So just push it in the hole, and then what I do is I take the pliers, grip them together so you've got a bigger platform here, and then you can just push that into the hole. To make that firm, you will need to run a little bit of solder around it. So what I would suggest is you put a cocktail stick in the hole and then just run a little bit of copper solder round the thing to hold it in, and that stops it coming out. Because once you've got the wallpaper on, you'll never ever see these again, so you just need to make sure that they're not loose. Then at the end of the wall, where the back is, you would attach two little bits of wire, and then that wire will come out the back of the house. So you drill a hole in the back of the house and bring that wire out. Now the wire that we use is like this, and there's two strands there, and if you strip the outer coating off it, you'll see inside there's 6 or 7 little strands, and they're all nickel plated each one, and that means that it will run the electric round the house more efficiently. Now how do you know the length of the wire you want? Well, what I normally do is I take the wire and go to the back of the house and measure it diagonally, so like that, snip it off, and then I can attach it to the copper tape and then bring it out the back. Because you've taken the plastic coating off it to do the soldering, you will actually have to paint it. So what you do is you use gloss paint, and that must be not kitchen paint or bathroom paint, because they both have fungicides in them. So you just normally, any paint, gloss paint you've got in the garage, some, hid up in the corner, and you just paint it over, and it wants to be either side of the copper tape, because you will actually feel a nice smooth action then, so that when you wallpaper it, it will go over it nice. Now that's fine if you've got the house not built, and you can work with each piece of wall or ceiling flat on the top. Now just before I go on, I'll just mention about the ceiling. Now the ceiling is done exactly the same way, but instead of using brassy coloured ones, you use these silvery coloured grips. Now they must be for ceilings because they have a little spring inside them. So when you have your back plate with your light on it and you push it into the ceiling, the little grips hold it there. And you will need a drill bit of 2.4 millimeters for that. Again, because they need to be tight. Quite a few of you will buy houses that are already built. And you will find it's a job to get this copper tape into the inside the house and have to solder two little wires right up against the corner and bring your wires out. So I've given this some thought and I've come up with this idea. Take your reel of copper tape, stick it down with some masking tape onto a board or something like that. Take your plastic coating off it. So you just, and that is a job, take your plastic coating off, right off like that. You could then attach your wire to the end here, solder it on. Now if you've already got your house built, you will find it difficult possibly to put your copper tape in and then solder the wires at the end in the corner near the back so you can run the wires out. So giving this some thought, and you could do it this way. You take your copper tape and you would put it on a board or something and put some masking tape over to hold it. Take your plastic coating off the front, rip it right off, that will leave you two strands of copper tape there. You then take your wire, and the wire that we use is wire that if you strip the coating off it, if you look inside you might be able to see it. There's 6 or 7 little strands of wire inside each one, and they're nickel plated. That means that it will run the electric around the house much more efficiently. And how do I know what's the length of the wire that I need to solder onto here? Well, what I have done in the past when I've been wiring people's houses, I take the wire, go round to the back of the house, hold the wire and bring it across the house diagonally, and that will give me a length of wire, and then snip it off. So we take the plastic coating off, we attach it to the copper tape by soldering it on. So then you've got your copper tape with your wire attached to it outside the house. Drill a hole in the back wall where the wire is going to go through, and then what you can do is you can take your copper tape with the wire attached to it, like so. You can feed this wire through the hole where it's going to go, and then just pull it gently through, and then that will pull the copper tape up to the corner. Just take the back coating off of the copper tape, like so, and then that just sticks straight onto the wall. And that means you don't then have to actually solder the wires onto the copper tape inside the house, because you've already done it. Run the copper tape along the wall. This is the back here with your wires on it, along the wall. I normally run it the length of the wall, because you can put as many of these grips in as you like along here, to make sure that they're in the right place, because you'll never see them because they will be underneath the wallpaper, and I will explain that a bit more in a minute. The ones above, like in the wall, sort of a wall light, you'll need to measure up about 5 or 6 inches draw a line, and then work with the copper tape downwards, and that will give you probably the light about 5.5 inches on the wall, and that should be about the right size up the wall. Just have a person stand next to it. Now you might be wondering what this is here. This is just to explain to you that when you bring your wires out the back, you can put something like this on the back of the house. Now we do deal with that in another video, because you can have that with switches, without switches. You could have remote control put on so you can turn your lights on and off. That's a new thing that we're doing. But we have a YouTube channel, and they're all on there individually, so you can check those out as well. And if I bring this back up here, just so you've got a quick look, there's one of those little things on the back of the house with the wires coming out. Right, we'll just take this light out for a minute. So here's your skirting board here, and here's the paper over the top of the copper tape, or round wire, doesn't matter. We have a demonstration on our YouTube about round wire, but today we're just talking about copper tape. So you've painted the copper tape, and that's very important because you don't want it bleeding through the wallpaper. You stick your wallpaper on. Once you've stuck it on, walk away, leave it, don't even go anywhere near it for 12 hours. Come back and that will be nice and tight. You really just want to put a bit of glue on the wall and a bit on the wallpaper. That will give you a bit of slip, but not only that, that will pull it in tighter. While it's damp, you might want to get your cocktail stick and just prick the hole so that you can see where the little grips are underneath. You can feel it when it's dry. If you just run your fingers along where you think they will be, I can feel that one there, and then I can just prick that. So that's the thing with copper tape. You will never see that again. And then you can always just, with our back plates that we have, just push your light in and you're done. And the same thing for a ceiling light as well. Now I hope you find this presentation useful. There is a lot more information on our website, and also you can find out how to contact us if you need to speak to me. Thank you for watching this